Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a guide to skin tints. I really wanted to round up the products in my collection that I personally feel are true skin tints. So I want to kind of go over that a little bit before we get really in depth with these products, because I do personally feel like I'm seeing a lot of cosmetic brands almost remarket tinted moisturizers as skin tint. It's a little bit of a buzzy product right now. But what I personally consider to be a true skin tint is something that has considerably less coverage than your typical tinted moisturizer while still having the versatility to be built up to varying levels of coverage. So it's something that truly, with just like one light layer, will provide your skin with a tint. But some of these products are better for being built up to give you more coverage depending on your skin concerns or your desired level of coverage. And that's really what I wanted to touch on with you, is that I think the unique thing about a skin tint, if it's done right, is that it has the ability to provide your skin with a filtered looking finish without, up in your face noticeable coverage like some tinted moisturizers or foundations do. So to me, if you find the right skin tint, it really is this bridge product that's quite unique if you play around with them and find one that really fits the bill for your skin's needs, because it can provide you with just the right amount of coverage to where it can truly blend in quite seamlessly, and it's pretty exciting. So I've got some that I really like, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun talking about all of these. We're gonna pull up the notes because I do have some specific characteristics of each of these skin tints that I really wanna make sure I hit with you. So the first one I wanted to talk about is the OG, in my opinion. It's the Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint. This is truly a product that just gives your skin a dash of color, a dash of coverage. The finish is going to be that slightly filtered, slightly more evened out skin tone, and this, in my opinion, is a true skin tint. Not really buildable coverage. I mean, you can get more coverage the more product you wear, but something else to keep in mind when we're talking about these skin tints is that a lot of the time you want to be a little bit more strategic about the one that you pick, because with these types of products, the more you wear, the more you can kind of flood the face with product, and it will migrate and move around a lot more because they're just a little bit more fluid. They're meant to be worn in, light coverage amounts, and really just kind of there for that little sprinkle of makeup, if you will. So Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint is truly a skin tint that, like I said, it's just gonna give you a filter and a dash of coverage, and it's really just for somebody who wants something that looks like nothing on the skin but gives you a slightly more evened out appearance. This one I am so excited to share with you. I've been testing it for 2 weeks. I have been wearing this non-stop since the first time I tried it. I am so impressed with this. I think this is truly gonna be one of those products that a lot of you are gonna get excited about. So it's the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. This is it. This is the way. This makes your skin look so good, and it really feels like a serum. It looks, it doesn't look like a serum. You can definitely tell it's like a cosmetic product, but once you apply it to your skin, it feels like a serum, and it dries down, and it's one of those ones that gives you that really beautiful luminous finish, but it's dry to the touch. It's absolutely incredible. I really feel like with this one, you get the best of both worlds. You get tint and coverage, and you get that nice luminous strobe, but it truly dries down without feeling sticky, and it just looks so good. It really hits the mark on all the different criteria for me. It gives you buildable coverage. You can really wear it sheared out as a tint if you wish. It stays dry and sets so that you don't have to use a powder if you don't want to. It's at a lot higher of a price point than the other L'Oreal Color Cosmetics, but this is, a serum with skincare. So I think they're marketing it as like skincare makeup, but truly one to check out. Definitely been my favorite. Okay, so next up we're gonna talk about the NYX Bear With Me Luminous Skin Serum. This is such a lovely treat of a skin tint. It is beautiful and luminous and lightweight, and it really makes your skin look like you just got a facial. It's got this ultra fine pearlescence to it, so it reflects back light and really gives your skin that like plump, bouncy, healthy look. And it just, to me, makes your skin look like you just got a facial. Like, it just is so beautiful and so delicately luminous that it's such a unique one in my opinion. So I definitely think that this one is best worn in light layers because it's a little bit more shiny, and it does feel like a traditional serum in the sense that it will somewhat give you the sensation that it's being like absorbed into your skin, so that it's not just, you know, laying on top. But I do personally find that the more I layer of this, the more the product seems to feel a little bit slippy on my skin. But truly such a treat to wear, and I think this is great for every day or days when you just want that like effortless, good looking skin without really being concerned about covering anything, because it really, I think, just, you look like you got a facial. It's incredible, it's beautiful. You'll see it on the skin and you'll see what I mean. Okay, next is a newer favorite. It's the Maybelline 4-in-1 Skin Perfecting Makeup. This has such a beautiful luminous strobe to it. And what I really like about this is that it does dry down on my skin. So it doesn't feel like it stays slippery. I feel like once the product dries, it stays put really well. I don't always have to powder it. Another thing that I really like about the Maybelline one is that it has flexible coverage. So although this shade, when I look at it, I don't feel like it looks like it's gonna be the perfect match for me, but because it does sheer out, you can probably get 1 or 2 shades to really work for you depending on your skin tone. So love it, it's beautiful. Little bit of this, little bit of spot concealing, you look good. You got a little bit of tint, and I was really truly impressed with the way that this does camouflage and blur out dark spots and hyperpigmentation, red blemishes, or just the redness on certain areas of my face. So I was genuinely very impressed with the coverage of this guy. All right, so now we're gonna talk about SAIE's Slip Tint. So this is actually a tinted moisturizer, but the reason I'm recommending this to you as a skin tint is because for me personally, I do find that this looks the best after just a really light layer, because the more I build it up, the more distracting and honestly sticky it kind of feels on my skin. So I really don't like to build this up. It's not something that I would recommend to somebody who really wants a lot of coverage, because you are gonna have to use a little bit more product, and it just doesn't look good with a lot, but it looks really beautiful when it's worn sheerly. You get that light filtered tinted coverage, which is why I feel like this is better off reached for as somebody who's craving a skin tint. I do also want to mention I find that it is the best set with powder, just to really boost up that longevity, because this one doesn't really set down. It stays quite tacky to the touch and just performs better with longer lasting longevity if you use a little bit of powder just to help keep it in place, prevent it from migraining or settling into fine lines throughout the day. Glowish Skin Tint by Huda. Pleasantly surprised by this the past few times I've been using it. I think I was a little bit freaked out the first time I used it because I used way too much. This one has amazing coverage, definitely great for somebody who wants a little bit more versatility in terms of the amount that they can build it up, but something that you do need to be aware about is that this does have a pearl finish. Now the reason I think that it actually really looks beautiful is because it's not overly metallic. When I talk about something like the Charlotte Tilbury Skin Tint, this one has a more noticeable metallic finish and strobe, which is not a bad thing because I love this as well. But if you look at this one side by side with the Charlotte Tilbury one, the Huda one has this like soft pearl finish. It almost looks like you set your products with a like pearlescent powder. So it's really unique in that sense. I don't have anything else in my collection like this. I love that it has that really nice skin tone tint to it. Glowish also has squalane in it, which is one of my favorite skincare products. I love how, as someone with a drier skin type, it really provides you with a long sense of moisturization on the skin. And I also noticed that it has red bell pepper extract, which I think is going to be like a new thing that we're going to see a lot in skincare and color cosmetics, because I've been noticing a lot of red bell pepper extract skincare products. So I thought that was kind of interesting that it's in here. So you know what? After Glowish, let's just move right into Hollywood Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury. This is a product that I have repurchased 3 times now. I have 2 different shades that I bounce back and forth between. 5, which is typically my summer shade, and then when I'm a little bit more fair or not quite as tanned, I wear shade number 4. So 5 is considerably more warm toned than 4, just side by side. A lot of you were saying you thought 4 was a little bit too silver. Try 5. It wakes up your skin because it's got a little bit more like warmth to it. So it's a really beautiful shade as well. I love this. I've been loyal to it since I first tried it. It's so beautiful. I just love how this looks on its own, mixed in with foundation, applied on top of foundation, and it just looks beautiful on its own with some spot concealer. So I would really recommend the Charlotte Tilbury one for anyone who craves a noticeable strobe on the skin, so something that's going to be a little bit more apparent than Glowish. I feel like this on its own is probably the most luminous skin tint that I own, and that can go either way. You can either love that or you can hate it. If you have noticeable texture, you're probably not going to love it on its own, because when I was breaking out a lot around the mouth area, I avoided using this around my mouth area, but I love this. It's got that light skin tint to it, so it still gives you that really beautiful coverage, and it will get progressively a little bit more oily throughout the day. So definitely a product that if I wear on its own, I like to prime underneath it and powder throughout the day if I notice I'm getting oily on any areas of my face. Fenty Eaze Drops. I love the formula of this skin tint. Definitely better for somebody who wants a little bit more versatility in terms of coverage, because I do find this one to go anywhere from sheer to medium, and it has this really unique, beautiful, like fluid, creamy, lightweight, silky formula. So it sets down to this gorgeous soft powder finish. So powder's not always necessary with this one, and I just love the formula. It blends out so beautifully. I love using my fingertips with it. I'm always happy with the amount of coverage that I get with this. I like that you can build it up, and I would definitely recommend this to anybody who's wanting something that's still a skin tint, but they can build it up on days where they feel like they need a little bit more coverage. And I'm telling you, like, just the way it sets down on the skin, it just looks so gorgeous. And like I said, I feel like you don't always have to use powder with this one, and I reach for it a lot. Like, I really like this. Next up, we have the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. This one has some really amazing moisturizing ingredients: niacinamide, squalane, hyaluronic acid, and I do find that for myself personally, this one packs quite a punch in terms of coverage. It looks really beautiful, sheered and light coverage, but you can also build it up, and it really has the ability to cover redness, hyperpigmentation, dark spots, and still give you that really beautiful, fresh, plump looking skin. Like, I really like the way this looks. I feel like it makes your skin look a little bit more bouncy, and it also feels really nice. Now, Ilia is one of those clean at Sephora brands, so I would definitely recommend this to those of you that have a more sensitive skin type and you look for those types of brands because you like the ingredient lists a little bit better. Sometimes my skin is more sensitive if I'm having an eczema flare-up, and I've never had any issues with this one being irritating or just making my skin feel any more angry when my skin is angry. So I think this is a great gentle option with versatile coverage as well. Okay, so next I want to talk about the Revlon Colorstay Light Coverage Foundation. I feel like this is not marketed correctly, and that's why it has some mixed reviews, because this is not a foundation in my opinion. It's buildable in terms of the coverage that you can get, but I would never wear this to be full coverage like a typical foundation, because it performs like a skin tint to me. The more you wear of it, the more you can flood the face and just overload the face with product, and then it just moves around and becomes a mess. Whereas if you wear this like a skin tint, lightly sheared out, blended into the skin, you get that really nice even tone, a little bit of coverage. You get camouflage for the redness and darkness on your skin, but it's not a full coverage look. This does set down to that really nice powder finish on the skin, and because it's part of the Revlon Colorstay line, I do find this to be good in terms of longevity. I will say if you are prone to becoming oily throughout the day, it's probably still a good bet to adequately prime and set the face so that you can avoid any, you know, product migration or breakdown throughout the day. But overall, a really nice option, and it's affordable because it's Revlon. I like the formula. I think that you have to go into this one looking at it from the standpoint of wearing it as a skin tint and not as a foundation, because like I said, to me, this is a tint. KOSAS Tinted Face Oil. This is a unique little gal. This is a face oil with like foundation pigments in it. So it does give your skin coverage and it does even out the skin tone, but it's moisturizing like an oil. So this is gonna give you a dewy sheen on the skin without having those luminous or pearlescent pigments to it, because it just reflects back light from the properties of the formula itself. So it just looks like a facial oil with some coverage to it. So definitely not for everybody, but if you are a drier skin type like me, I think you could really find a place for this in your routine on most days. I do like this. It is something that I find myself reaching for more so in the winter though. It's not ideal for me anytime it's hot or humid. I just find it to be a little bit distracting because it's an oil, but in the winter time, it's beautiful, and I really like the ultralight coverage on this. If you do have, like I said, some concerns that you're really wanting to hide, probably not the best, because it's also not the most buildable. It'd be essentially just, you know, layering oil on your face, but you'll see it on the skin. Like, that's kind of what I really wanted to focus on in this video, is showing you what they look like on my skin so you can gauge a little bit better. But if you are concerned with longevity on this, you can set it with powder, and that helps boost up that wear time so you can wear it for longer periods of a time without feeling like you're getting too like noticeably oily. But I really would not recommend that for anyone with an oily skin type, because I think you would just find it to be incredibly distracting. So I would reserve the KOSAS Tinted Face Oil for those of you with dry skin types, or even somebody that has like noticeably flaky skin. I get a lot of those flaky eczema patches around my mouth. This is great for those days because it hides them. It keeps them from looking like crepey and dry. I want to talk about these next two together because they perform practically identically for me. So it's the Neutrogena Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. This is from the Healthy Skin line. And then the Bobbi Brown Nude Finish Tinted Moisturizer. These are just a smidge more coverage than the Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint. These blend in, again, give you that really undetectable coverage to where they just seamlessly float over the skin and provide you with a little bit of a filter. They are more buildable than the Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint, but they're not really geared towards providing you with a lot of noticeable coverage. So for somebody who wants something that's a little bit more moisturizing and feels like a true moisturizer on your skin with giving you just that little bit of coverage, I think you'll like these. If you're looking for more of a tinted product from Neutrogena, if you've watched me for a while, I was genuinely so obsessed with the Hydra Boost Skin Tint. Still would sing the praises to that product. I don't currently have it in my collection, but that has noticeable buildable coverage, sets down to a really gorgeous satin finish, and you'll get a little bit more versatility with the amount of coverage you can get from that one. I'm a big Bobbi Brown gal. I love Bobbi Brown products. I love Neutrogena products. They're both great. They're light tinted moisturizing products. The last one I'm going to talk about is the Illusion Hyaluronic Skin Tint from Hourglass. This has considerably more coverage than a product like this, but still noticeably less coverage than some of my other tinted moisturizers. So I do personally find this to be a traditional skin tint, if you will, but I really, really love the way that this feels on my skin. This one is one of those ones that I can wear from morning until night, and I feel like it really keeps my skin feeling moisturized. It doesn't crack, it doesn't crumble. It gives you more coverage, so if you do have things that you want to hide, this is a really nice option. And I just think it's such, again, I use that a lot in this video, but It's got a really nice, elegant formulation to it to where it just looks good, and it always will give you that nice skin-like finish with, you know, natural coverage that doesn't look over the top while still giving you just that light tint where you don't want to hide everything on your skin. So if you're looking for something with, like I said, a little bit more coverage than something like these, this is a good option to have. All right, so that is everything I wanted to mention in today's skin tint video. I really hope that you find the facial applications helpful, and if you do, please let me know. My skin gets really irritated from doing all of those application shots, and if they're helpful, I will continue to do them. But if showing them to you on the back of my hand is just as helpful, that's a lot easier on my face. So I would love to know. And if you have any other types of products you really want to see, like a deep dive and just essentially like a glossary on things from my collection that I can show you different formulas and price points of, I would love to do that for you. And I think that's everything I wanted to mention. In the description box, I will link every single one of these products as well as the shade that I wear specifically, so that you can have a little bit more help with navigating the shades. If you're a similar skin tone to mine, that should be pretty helpful, I hope. And I think that's everything I wanted to mention. So let me know if you'd like to see another like glossary type video of something like this, and if you found it helpful, I would love to know. I would love it so much if you would subscribe to my channel. If you'd come follow me on Instagram, that would be amazing as well. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye everyone.